to this, which is a hell of a base to start from, and a great way to start when dealing with detail issues and stuff like that within ZBrush. But what I usually do is I'll go through that whole Dynamesh process and figure out my major forms, and then I'll come in here and I will ZBrush to give me my start. And let's go ahead and divide this a couple times. And go back in here and hit some of these planes again. I just want to clearly define these lines of action here. All right, so now we can get into the fun work here. I'm going to go to my dam standard yet again. I'm going to go ahead and start carving into this surface here to find a unique looking character. We might actually divide one more time here. Subdivide one more time. Getting in the millions here. There we go. So now it feels like I'm just sketching. Just going to get in here, just start filling out some of these details. Smoothing as I go. Just blocking in some major forms, giving it that kind of traditional clay treatment. Usually I work a little bit faster while looking at reference. So this is coming straight out of my head right now. We'll see how that works. Getting in there and trying to figure out what kind of giant is this. Just thinking about facial expressions, attitude. I try to convey all of that as I'm sculpting and think about, maybe sometimes I think about what lines this guy would be saying in whatever movie he would be in. Putting him in scenarios, using my imagination as I'm creating him, just to see what I can come up with. That's like really the fun part for me. So you can see how quick you can go from a rough Dynamesh sculpt into something that is definitely conveying your thought process and what you want for the design. Give him a little bit here of a lip. Give him some chin, neck fat here. Let's go ahead and use the Form Soft here. And that little bulldog look here. Constantly moving around the model too, to kind of see what it looks like from all sides. It's dangerous to stay in one view and one view only, because it'll only look good from one side. You don't want that. Okay, so let's build this area up here a little bit. It's about good enough there for that area here. Let's go ahead and start hitting some of these anatomy points again. And I really only use just a few of these brushes to get that kind of traditional feel going for me. Maybe let's make them a little bit bigger here. Let's turn off this floor. We don't need that anymore. Oops. So now I'm going to get into some detail work here using some alpha brushes. Just go down just one subdivision level here so I can affect the surface more. I just want to soften that up and give it that leathery feel where skin is stretching across the surface. Real subtle, doesn't have to be super strong. There's going to be lots of wrinkles where there's lots of motion. So all I'm doing is just softening that up, smoothing it out a little bit, just to get that micro detail. Yeah. Oops. So we'll go in here and try and smooth some of this out here. just lay in some details where I want skin to be stretching. Let's go in here and fix one of these brows here so we can get some emotion. Excuse me. Just going in here and seeing what kind of creature I can think of next here. I'll make sure I want to hit certain levels of detail. Just figuring out. Oh, now he looks like he's smiling. Let's not do that. He's an angry giant. Let's see here. What else can we do here? Fix this area around the ear. We want to hit these folds back here with a little bit of detail, not too much.
Hello, everybody. The next winner of the 3D printer contest is Kurt Smith. And Julie Lynn won a new scanner. Please come by the front desk to win your prize.
Getting in here. All right. So let's start hitting it with some secondary levels of detail here. Just sketching on the surface, trying to 20 minutes? Okay. All right. Yes, I'll save. I'll wrap this up here in 20 minutes here. Say we want to make this guy some sort of high-tech looking Cyclops, maybe. Or maybe not. Maybe we'll just stick with fantasy here. So now I'm going to go ahead and apply some pores to this guy. So we're going to form soft button. And here I'm going to choose that brush. Go to spray here. And just start tapping randomly. Just to give that surface some texture. Playing with some shapes here, figuring out, pulling out that lip area here so he has more of a little shelf. And even at this highest subdivision level, I can still go in here and play with those shapes to kind of get a more unique, dynamic looking character relatively quickly, or just do variations on what I've done already. Oh, and the saving. Another great feature for ZBrush. It will save and back up your files as you're sculpting. So let's go ahead and pose him real quick. Let's go ahead and T-pose the mesh here real quick. And what this allows me to do is it takes everything to a low subdivision so I can easily move things at a more subtle rate. And this is the transpose tool, which I absolutely love for 3D. I can't think of anything else I like better to navigate in a 3D space than this tool right here. Doing some more turning of the head. And the nice thing about this is that when I go to T-pose this, or undo the transformation that I did, it will just snap all my subtools and geometry back into the position in which it was before. Click of a button automatically reposes my figure. Let's go ahead and give this guy some details in the eye. And now I'm going to go ahead and fill this with a different material here really quickly. Fill that with toy plastic. Put that down here. Go ahead and choose this. Fill that object. And now I'm going to go back to the skin shade here. Fill that object again. So there we have our fantasy Cyclops character fleshed out in a little bit under an hour. Let's do a render here on this. I'm already done. We can do some more detail here. Maybe we'll go up here, scar him up just a little bit. It's important to go in there and kind of break up the symmetry a little bit. You don't want it to be perfect on both sides. Going in here and figuring out what can I do to make this guy more unique looking. Let's take a chunk out of his ear. Maybe he's got a cut or a slash there. Making some scarring marks here. going in here and adding more detail just to bring as much life to the character as you can. Maybe you can try and raise one eyebrow a little bit. Just making sure he's not perfect on both sides here. All right, so I think we're done with our fantasy Cyclops guy. Thanks, guys.